Once upon a time, far away in the valleys of tall mountains, there was a village where nights were magical. The villagers believed that stars were not just shining lights. They were listeners, guides, and storytellers. Every child of that village grew up with one special tradition. On their 10th birthday, they would be taken to the highest hill where the sky opened wide and endless. There, under the watchful eyes of the night, the child would close their eyes, whisper a wish, and listen. And the stars, yes, the stars, would always answer. Sometimes they answered in soft whispers, sometimes in dreams, sometimes in feelings of courage or joy. It was said, no child is ever alone, for the stars will always speak back. But then came Arav. Arav was a gentle boy with curious eyes. He loved climbing trees, chasing fireflies, and listening to stories from his grandmother. When his 10th birthday arrived, he was filled with excitement. Tonight, he thought, I will finally hear the stars. That evening, the villagers lit torches and guided him to the top of the sacred hill. His grandmother placed her hand on his shoulder and whispered, Go on, child. Close your eyes and speak your heart. Arav shut his eyes, breathed deeply, and whispered, Hello, stars. Can you hear me? Then he opened his eyes. The sky glittered. Stars twinkled brighter than ever. He waited for a voice, a feeling, a whisper, but nothing came. He tried again, louder this time. Please, say something. Still silence. The villagers watched quietly. Some looked worried. Some even frowned. Finally, Arav lowered his head and walked down the hill. For the first time in the history of the village, a child had not heard the stars. In the days that followed, children around him laughed and shared their starlight secrets. The stars told me a story about the sea, said one. The stars promised me bravery for the race tomorrow, said another. Arav sat alone, silent. He felt left out, broken, different. The whispers of the villagers spread. Why won't the stars talk to him? Maybe he isn't worthy. Maybe the stars don't like him. Every word cut Arav's heart deeper. But his grandmother, wise and loving, would sit by him each night. She stroked his hair and said, Child, the stars speak in many ways. Some hear them as words, some feel them as dreams, and some may have to wait longer to understand their language. Still, Arav couldn't help but wonder, what if I never hear them? What if I am truly alone? Years began to pass. Arav grew taller, quieter, and lonelier. While others ran up the hill every night, eager to hear stories from the sky, Arav stayed back. He began to notice things others missed. He watched the fireflies, the way they glowed like tiny fallen stars. He listened to the river at night, the water sparkling like liquid starlight. He stared at the silence between sounds and realized it too had music. One evening, while the other children laughed on the hilltop, Arav sat by the river with his grandmother's old sketchbook. The reflection of the stars shimmered on the water. Something inside him whispered, not from the sky, but from his own heart. His hand began to move. He sketched the stars, but he didn't just draw dots. He drew them as he felt them. Fireflies dancing, rivers glowing, villagers smiling. His stars were alive. The next morning, one of the children saw his sketch. This is what I dreamed of after talking to the stars last night, she gasped. Another child pointed at a drawing. This is the courage I felt when the stars spoke to me. One by one, the villagers began to realize Arav was hearing the stars, just not in the way they expected. The stars were speaking to him in silence, in visions, in feelings. And Arav was translating them into art for everyone else. The boy who couldn't talk to stars had been chosen to see differently. As years rolled on, Arav became the village's starlight artist. People from nearby valleys came to see his work. His drawings showed stories that no words could explain. Love, hope, courage, sorrow, and joy, all hidden within the stars. One winter night, during the grand festival of lights, the villagers gathered on the hill. Candles flickered, drums echoed. The sky was a deep velvet blanket scattered with silver dust. Every child whispered their wish to the stars. Every villager closed their eyes in reverence. Arav stood apart, quiet, holding his sketchbook. For the first time, he didn't ask, "Why don't they speak to me?" Instead, he whispered softly, "Thank you for choosing me differently." At that very moment, a shooting star streaked across the heavens, bright, fiery, magnificent. The villagers gasped in awe. But Arav simply smiled. He knew the truth. It wasn't the stars finally speaking. It was their way of saying, "We've been with you all along." And so Arav's name was remembered, not as the boy who couldn't talk to stars, but as the boy who taught his village how to truly see them. Life lessons from Arav's story. 1. Being different doesn't mean being less. Sometimes it means being chosen for something unique. 2. Silence can speak louder than words if we learn how to listen. 3. Every soul has its own way of connecting with the universe, through art, music, kindness, or dreams. 4. Don't compare your path to others. The stars guide each heart in its own language. 5. Sometimes the greatest gifts are hidden in what seems like a weakness.
I hope my story have brought good sleep to your child. I wish to bring same story to your children in future. Again, if you like my video, then please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. See you on the next video.